If you're a fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, then at some point you might have witnessed a guest or one of his friends attempting to make a joke and just seen it completely go over Joe Rogan's head. And oh man, do we have a nice compilation of that today. Now, some people think that this is some sort of an alpha power move by Joe Rogan to try and somehow assert his dominance over the guest. Other people, including close friends of Joe Rogan, truly think that he doesn't understand comedy. Now, I personally think that there's a more simple, interesting reason to why he does what he does. So I thought it would be interesting to take a look at some of the most legendary moments of Joe Rogan missing jokes. So let's get started.
We have one.
What is he doing? He's going to get that bird feeder?
He's going to unscrew the bird feeder.
He's doing whatever he wants,
Oh
bro.
my God, look how smart he is. Dude, this is insane. Look how smart this thing is. But also, look how confident it is in its strength.
And look at him looking over at the camera. He knows he's being filmed, dude.
Yeah, and look how he's... Yeah, I don't think he knows that. But look how good he is at climbing up. Dude, how many people, even if they could do that, if they had the kind of strength to do that, how many people would even figure out how to navigate that so easily?
Dude, Matt Eisman would host this. This is like American Ninja Warrior. Dude, you telling me that they don't steal some of these games from this?
Look at this.
Look at him.
How can we stop going full screen?
Because he's
It kept
looking.
starting over. I don't know.
Oh,
what it's doing.
okay. When it goes full screen, it starts over?
I don't know what the hell is happening.
Look at this. And is that
Look
a
at
fake
his-
China person or something?
Look at his fucking ability to just hang on there with one arm and then grab with his feet. That is bananas. Your parents were like real old when they had you, right? Or your dad was?
Yeah, my dad was. My dad was 70 when I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, he was born in 1910.
Holy shit, dude. You're from a different era. You got different genes.
Yeah, sometimes I do think I feel a little more tired. I feel a little bit...
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, you got like early human genes.
Yeah.
You know, like you're a direct descendant from someone who was born in 1909.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, when it comes to Theo Von and Mark Norman, I think that it's a very interesting situation because Joe Rogan was the one who blew them up and hyped them up as, you know, these hilarious comics and some of the best. Even addressed that their style of comedy was completely different and unique to their personality, which is correct. But Theo Von alone has shot and missed so many times while doing Joe Rogan's podcast, which is insane. Mark Norman and other guests are also on the list, which leads us to the question, what's going on? Is Joe Rogan doing this on purpose? Because even though, yes, comedy is subjective, I think we can all agree that all those jokes were pretty funny for, you know, being on the spot. Plus, they are recording a podcast. So as a comic, Joe Rogan openly not laughing at a joke is basically telling the comedian to shut up and saying that they are not funny. So with that being said, I can understand why people might think that Joe Rogan is mean and is doing that on purpose, but I don't know.
Mulder was so smart and thoughtful. He wrote my 4 best movies. That's why he died. I made Tusk and Yoga Hosers. Like, without that dog writing for me.
How'd he write for you?
It's a joke, Joe. He was feral. He's just saying he was so smart.
Bro.
He was so smart. How smart was he? He's so smart he wrote my last few scripts. Joke didn't quite land. Sorry,
I was
folks.
missing something. I
My
wasn't paying
bad.
attention.
I didn't set it up properly. I'm not a pro.
I get a titter here and there. You know, when you're outdoor, I made the one joke. I go, I actually heard a cricket. One guy goes, huh. You know, that guy, you know, like the condescending, like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah,
That's
like
you
a
know,
sheep.
Yeah, Rogan does that shit. And he goes, meh, meh. You're like, fuck you, you bald.
He does do that.
I hate the meh, meh.
I'm like, that was pretty good.
How the f do you take in information?
My producer takes in a lot. Ben, you know, he spends a lot of time online.
I love that you said, you know, these are all Ben's rants. I'm just reciting them.
You know,
And there was a, you know, Rogan's notorious for not getting a joke.
Right.
There was a second where he was like,
yeah.
Wait, you mean true, Mom?
Now we get to Rogan taking things way too literal. Now, to be fair, he does have a very diverse podcast where, you know, he has people that talk about very serious topics and important matters, and then he has comedians on that just make a lot of jokes and talk a lot of crap. But there have been situations where not only does he not get the joke, but he goes as far as to try and break down the joke. I don't know if to maybe prove how bad of a joke it was, or if he is just on a autopilot mode where he is just dissecting jokes, because most of these situations could have been easily avoided by Joe Rogan just giving them a courtesy laugh and changing the subjects. But instead, him dissecting the subjects or the jokes give us these unintentionally funny moments like this classic one.
He's like, if we just get you to the first episode, like people will see you're not a piece of person.
Right.
Like just talk. And I was like, whatever, I'll do. If I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny. No?
What?
I was like, I literally.
Is that what you thought?
I literally thought that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it would be funny.
Well, it could have been funny.
Yeah.
I was booked up though.
No, it's fine. It was just funny to truly. That was a conversation I actually had.
Really?
In Lorne Michaels' office in the middle of that.
That's hilarious.
I was in pure panic.
Terror?
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't really matter because he gave us those precious gems, like the one with Shane Gillis, which is insane to rewatch. Obviously, the joke there was that Joe Rogan was insanely huge, that even if Shane got kicked off of one of the most popular shows in the comedy shows in the United States, he would still be better off just because he knows Joe Rogan and he was going to be on the podcast. But Rogan took it way too serious. Like if Shane was actually confessing to him that he was relying on Joe Rogan to save his life, which is insane to think about. Shane was already on SNL. His comedy special is completely killing it. It's actually one of the funniest that I've seen in the past couple of years, which is a joke. I mean, that's his style of comedy, to talk about dark subjects in a serious matter. So that's a classic one.
Did you know that that's where those powdered wigs came from? You know those powdered wigs that old dudes used to wear and the people in court used to wear? And
Oh, yeah.
that all came from a pair of rich, noble... Where were they again? In France?
Wiggers, I
In
think they
France.
called them.
No, wiggers are white people that wish they were black. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I saw coyotes. I was like, whoa.
Somebody reported a coyote fight in my neighborhood when I was growing up, and it was somebody made that up, but the cops still showed up. And I remember they interviewed everybody, like, we do anything about it, dude.
Do you think coyotes fight? I wonder if they do fight with each other.
I don't think
I've
so.
never heard of them fighting.
At this
But it
point,
must make sense. Someone has to be the boss in the coyote world. Wolves do. Wolves fuck each other up.
do they really?
Yeah, it's awful. They kill each other. Oh, these are coyote fights here? Most intense coyote fight. Oh, look at this. They're going to war right here.
Oh, this is on World Star, I think. Is this World Star?
That's when you draw back right there.
Look at that.
Another one jumped in. 3 coyotes. If you
Yes.
find like giant fields of blueberries, you'll find bears just snacking away, having a great time eating blueberries. They'll do it all day. Not polar bears. Polar bears asshole.
Oh, that's
they
crazy.
just kill you. They kill everything, man.
Oh, I would hate that, dude. I would hate if something was trying to eat me, man. I would just be so upset, I think.
Yeah. Did you see that lady that got in trouble?
So once again, a lot of people, including his close friends, think that Joe Rogan doesn't understand comedy or simply doesn't get jokes most of the time. But here's what I really think is going on. Not only does he do an insanely inhumane amount of podcasts a week, but he also, they vary from different topics, from like serious political topics to just comedians talking about whatever. And the way that Joe Rogan's podcast is different, and the reason why it's obviously more successful than any other podcast out there, is because of the length of the podcast and how you can really get to know a person. And here's the thing with comics: if you notice, a lot of the times with comedians, they talk in bits. I mean, you can easily find evidence of this in late night shows where they're interviewing a comedian. Obviously, the comic's purpose is to sell tickets or get more exposure, and they always talk in bits. Like it seems like they're telling a story about their day or about them being in the show, but it's really a bit that they worked on. What Joe Rogan does that you can argue is that he takes those comics out of that comfort zone by not laughing at their jokes and not giving them that confidence and just bringing them back to a simple conversation, which you can argue that is what he is doing, because at the end of the day, even comics could fake a 1-hour podcast because they turn it into a show. But you can't really fake a character for like 3+ hours, which is what Rogan does, which is what makes the podcast great, in my opinion. So I think that is the reason why he doesn't get those jokes. I might be wrong. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it this far, once again, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We are close. Well, we're not close, but we are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, and it really helps out a ton. Dislike if you didn't like the video, but that is all we have for today. See ya.